Well, the polls have dropped. On Sunday, you got all the new polls. We took some time to analyze and detail them. And so here on Tuesday, we're going to go ahead and dive into the way things look for some teams in the new polls, the AP poll, the coaches poll, as well as ESPN's FPI, which is the computers. We're curious of what they're thinking. The unfortunate thing is for the Sooners, we dropped. Yes, we dropped in polls. We dropped in a couple of polls. But that's not a bad thing, and there's a reason why it's a good thing, so make sure you stick around. We're going to talk about what they're not telling you about that poll and what Oklahoma can do to improve themselves. But let's go ahead and dive right into the polls themselves. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thanks for pulling up to the channel. Love having you all join us. Hit the like button if you're new to the channel. Subscribe. We'd love for you to join this family of fans, especially in the college football realm. We're talking a lot of OU football and college football in general, and always having a blast. And so in this one, we're going to dive into the new polls that came out, the ESPN FPI look from week 2 to week 3, and understand why the Sooners dropped in the polls. We saw them falling. It's like, what's going on? Why would Oklahoma fall? Oklahoma beat SMU 28-11, covering the spread of 16.5 points with the 17-point win. And for some reason, they still fell. Vegas decided that they needed, well, not Vegas, the AP poll, as well as the coaches poll moved Oklahoma up. The AP poll moved Oklahoma down. So it's intriguing to see. The coaches liked Oklahoma still, and the AP dropped Oklahoma 2 spots down. And then you have the ESPN FPI, and we'll talk about computers at the end and what Oklahoma can do to improve their odds. But let's look at this poll first. We'll pull up both of them. You have the AP poll here as well as the AFCA coaches poll from ESPN Direct. You see Oklahoma dropped from the 17th spot to the 19th spot in the poll. Colorado leapfrogged them, moving up 7 spots from 25 to 18, which is a huge move for the Buffs. They are showing that they are serious. And at least we'll say this. The writers actually believe in Colorado, but the coaches, not so much, because if you go to the coaches poll, Colorado moved up from 25 to 21. They moved up a little bit, but not all the way. There's not a lot of people still sold in Colorado yet, especially on the coaches side, but it looks like the media side, they really do like them. But Oklahoma dropping here from 17 to 19 is not really a bad thing. It's actually one of those things that probably should happen. And let me explain to you why. The one thing I mentioned on the last time we talked about the polls is that I actually like the fact that Oklahoma is basically underestimated. That is my favorite thing that Oklahoma is right now. I want them to be underestimated. I don't want teams to believe in them. I don't want anybody to believe that Oklahoma really has a chance of doing anything, because Oklahoma seems to play a lot better when they're not believed in. I know y'all have seen it. I've seen it. I know y'all have noticed it. I've noticed it. It seems to be the thing that whenever Oklahoma is underrated, they seem to be doing some stuff. So since that's the case, I want Oklahoma to maintain their, underratedness, I guess you could say. I want them to continue to be underestimated. We've seen some other teams really move around. Texas, with their victory over Alabama, shot them up, and Alabama dropping. Well, something that you got to expect. You win a big game, you deserve to move up. You lose, you're going to drop. So I want everybody to understand this. That is what you want out of this. And so let's look at the computers and let's talk about what Oklahoma needs to do in order to get themselves back in the good graces of everybody. And so when we look at this, the computers, ESPN FPI dropped this one. Oklahoma moved from number 4 to number 8. Let's put both of them side by side so you can see them both. Oklahoma was 4th last week. Now they're down to 8. Texas leapfrogged them from 10 to 6. And you saw Alabama is still the number 1 team in the computer system. Now, that's weird, right? Alabama's still number 1 in the computers. What is going on? They just lost to Texas. Totally get it. Simulations, they probably win more times than not. We can do the woulda, shoulda, coulda game, but that's not what you need to do. But you need to understand that these computers are calculating the games over like 20-something thousand simulations to see how many times these teams win. And in all their games, it appears that Alabama's still maintaining at the top because of just, statistics and probability. Doesn't mean Alabama's the best team in the country. It just means that based upon what they have on their roster by the players they have, and we talk about it more on the Unfair Sports podcast. Check that out He comes out Wednesday morning. Make sure you check it out. I dive a lot deeper into it, but Alabama is still a force to be reckoned with. Alabama is still good. Alabama's still a team that's going to be causing problems. And so shouldn't sleep on what they're doing, but at the same time, understand that, yeah, Oklahoma dropping to 8 is a good thing. We want them to continue to be underestimated. And when I went and looked at Oklahoma versus Texas in the predictor, Texas has moved back up to being the favorite by the computer. So that win against Alabama helped Texas's drive. But what can Oklahoma do to fix this? What can Oklahoma do to get in good graces with not only the pollsters as well as the computers at ESPN? Tell you what they need to do. They need to go out and blow everybody out. They've got 3 big games coming up. And I'm going to tell you they're big games because this is why. Play against Tulsa on Saturday. Tulsa right now is a 26.5-point dog. If Oklahoma goes out there and covers that spread while holding Tulsa underneath their 11-point average, well, they're giving up 5.5 points average so far this season. But if they can hold Oklahoma under 10 points while also covering that spread with ease, everybody will start to raise their eyebrows again, because this is why they're doubted. They're doubted because of last season. Remember, last year, Oklahoma started the season off as one of the best defenses in the country. Then Big 12 play came. Everything changed at TCU. Changed against Kansas State. Changed at Kansas State first, then TCU and the injury. That changed everything, and it completely derailed from there. Oklahoma has to show that once they get past the non-conference and they get into conference, they can continue to do it. Cincinnati is going to be the great test. Cincinnati's the game. They go up there to Cincinnati and they blast the Bearcats. Yes. Anticipate Oklahoma moving into the top 10 before the Texas game. That game's going to be the critical one, especially because Cincinnati is now ranked in the top 25 in the computers, and they will, by the time they play against Cincinnati next weekend, should be in the top 25 rankings in total at 3-0. So AP poll wise, they're not there yet. Neither are they in the coaches poll, but expect Cincinnati to move up. And when Cincinnati moves up, that is when you'll see Oklahoma get some more respect, because if they cover that spread, which I'm going to tell you now should be at least 10 points for Oklahoma as a favorite in that game. If Oklahoma's a 10-point favorite and they cover that spread too, then you're going to start seeing Oklahoma fly up the polls, especially after the Iowa State game in preparation for Red River. If the media can get a 5-0 Oklahoma versus a 5-0 Texas, they're going to have a top 10 matchup. That's what it's going to be. Both teams will be top 10. At least Oklahoma will be a minimum 10, with Texas being wherever they are. They will play each other, and that will be the game of the week that everybody's going to be watching. Game day will be there. I guarantee it. It's 11 o'clock kickoff, Texas State Fair, right there at the Cotton Bowl. So that's what Oklahoma needs to do. If they do that, then we will see them move up in the charts. But we all know winning is fun, but you got to blow people out, especially when you're Oklahoma and you're favored the way you are. The good thing is they've covered all the spreads. That's what's important. So hop in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the polls. Do you like my thought when it comes to Oklahoma being underestimated? Please, I would love to hear from you all. If you made it this far, you like the content, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Please join us. We're going for 20,000 by the end of the season. And the content I'm going to be dropping will show you why we're going to get there. We're going to kill it. So YouTube says watch one of these videos. I highly recommend it because I recommend it for you. And I need y'all to share. Why? Because sharing is caring. So let's chop it up. A few hours. Peace.